a lot of what we've talked about so far has been about this very close and cordial relationship between the Ceylonese Tamils and the British. How was the community affected, right, when the British announced that they will be pulling out of Singapore and closing the bases? Did that affect your family? Did that
Yeah,
affect the
well,
community?
I can tell you
Mm,
that my father was very affected by it,
mm,
and he because we are all British subjects
yeah.
at that time, right? In the
Mm,
57 that period of time. So my father was very affected, and he actually had a grand plan not to take up not to take up the offer. At first, he didn't want to take up the offer of Malaysia giving
mm,
nas- uh, what do you call it, citizenship.
yeah.
They were nationalizing this whole area. So my father was not happy about it because he didn't know how it was going to pan out. You know, so he
Mm,
wanted to remain as a British subject and for all of
mm,
us to remain as British subjects. And he actually had plans to move away, you know.
mm,
But then the offer of the Malaysian citizenship at that time was attractive enough for him to remain.
mm,
And having been born in Malaya, he decided to, okay, try, take a go of it, make a
mm,
go of it. And so he remained. So I think a lot of Ceylon Tamils in Singapore as well would have been in the same way rather concerned. And,
yep.
a lot of them made a poor decision of
Mm,
returning to Sri Lanka,
mm,
to
mm,
Ceylon, to Jaffna. And I think a lot of them regretted that.
yep.
My father also nearly did that. He bought a lot of property in Ceylon. So he wanted to go back because Ceylon was a pearl of the, you know, Indian Ocean and very attractive at that time.
Mm,
Everything was so positive. Singapore was not as positive, Malaysia was not as positive because, post war especially, it was really down and out. Whereas Ceylon never ever had the World War II hit them,
mm, mm,
the way it hit here. So my father actually bought property and all, thinking that he would retire there or to Bangalore. That was
mm,
his other aim, to go to Bangalore. But lucky he did not. He decided to take up the Malaysian citizenship that was offered to him. And he then, we also became Malaysian citizens in 1957. So likewise, the British subjects here
mm.
also had the same issue. Some of them actually went off to Britain.
Yeah, yeah.
Many of them, though, went off to
Mm,
Ceylon,
mm,
regrettably,
mm,
and suffered a lot of the ethnic problems.
mm, mm.
So their
Yeah.
next generation then came here, their children
Mm,
came
mm.
here or went to Australia or went to Canada or UK,
Right, right.
migrated.
Yeah, I do want to talk about that now. I mean, when I was growing up in the 80s, all that I was hearing on television were the Tamil Tigers, right?
Yes.
When that horrible civil war was taking place in Sri Lanka, did
Yeah.
that affect many of the Ceylon Tamils in Singapore? I mean, they would have
A
some
lot of them
relatives
had
and
family.
family.
Yes. A
Yeah,
lot of
yeah,
them had family.
yeah.
Like my my parental properties, that was in Jaffna, for example.
Mm,
So I have my mother's younger sister still is alive there. She's 98 or that age.
mm,
And she's still alive and she still lives on the family property.
mm,
And she suffered quite badly. The house was very badly damaged by
mm,
the bullets and the grenades and bombs, that was during that worst times. Lucky she and the family were somehow
mm,
or other saved.
mm.
But, a lot of people died. Yes, a lot of our
Yeah,
relatives were caught in the crossfires,
yeah, yeah.
very unfortunately. And this is all in war. What do you do, right? A lot of these people left and went there. Husbands were killed, children were killed, brothers were killed, young children were killed. So it did break our hearts a lot. But one thing for me, I can speak for myself. My allegiance is to here. I have moved. I mean, my father was born here, so how can I be anything but, a Singaporean or a Malaysian,
Yeah.
I cannot think in any other way because we grew up in this place. But our roots, of course, we feel very sad that our people whom we know have suffered very badly in our roots, a place of our roots. But our place of our birth is here. And if you ask me, I always have my attachments to Singapore, although I'm very Ceylon Tamil in my customary and heritage way, but not in the political way, no. I cannot make an attachment in that. I'm never involved in the political fray. I do sympathize with them and say, so sorry to hear about this, or sorry that someone has been killed or whatever, but
Yes,
that's as
of
far as I
course.
go. I cannot
Yeah.
do anything more. I won't be joining in any of the fundraising or anything, no. We never took part. My husband or myself never took part. We did get visitations during the early times, and it was very interesting. I told this guy, I said, if you all keep together, you can win. But if all of you have differences, you'll never be able to win anything, I said. So try and settle this.
Right,
Don't
right.
become a tiger. Don't, that was the lead guy of the tiger movement. The very early days, he came with a Catholic priest to see us, and the Catholic priest was a great supporter. And they came to raise funds.
Ah,
And
okay.
my husband and myself said, no, we will not support it because, first of all, we are Singaporeans and we cannot, um, we cannot support. We have our allegiance to this. We
Yes,
cannot support
yes.
political
Yeah,
things.
yeah.
We don't want to. And I don't think the guy was very happy with us, but doesn't matter. We don't want to be seen as that either. Yeah.
Yeah. You said at the beginning there were some refugees who came to Singapore from the
There was,
Civil
yes,
War.
from 1980,
Right.
there was a huge exodus of professionals that came. They were mostly doctors and, you know,
Ah.
um, a few engineers. And there are quite a few well-known guys who are here in Singapore, who have settled here permanently. There were many of them also who came here as a stepping stone and then left for Australia. They became Singaporeans, and then it was very easy for them to then get into Australia as well, you know.
I see.
And they were mostly doctors as well, who came
Okay.
here as a stepping stone and went off to Australia or to Britain. It was a very good halfway house, for them. But, yes, we did gain out of them being here at that period of time. They worked in the government service, but at the same time, they did not find, they felt that it was better for them to go to Britain or to Australia or to Canada, mostly to Britain and Australia at that time in 1982. Then the
I see.
subsequent lot that are more recent
Ah, yes.
are mostly engineers that were required, that were employed or deployed by our Singapore, for example, MRT, or in one of our multiple, developments. And there are guys who have come from Ceylon, amongst them quite a number of Jaffna Tamils who are IT boys,
Okay.
IT and engineering in rail. And I must tell you, when I talk about MRT and the rail,
Ah.
the first lot of engineers from the 12th Pioneer Corps of the British Ceylon Army who were engineers, who had built the Colombo-Kandy Railway, were the first engineers that were brought to Malaya to start the first railways. So the Port Well to Taiping Railway, which was the first one that was opened, and then the subsequent railways was built by the Ceylon Tamil Pioneer Corps. Ceylon Pioneer Corps that was from the army, British Army. And they were a whole group of Tamil engineers that were part of it, that were trained by the British.
Right. Yeah, yeah. So the
It's
MRT is
very
actually part of our rail history. Yeah.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
And the other thing is the railways, almost every railway station, the station master was Jaffna Tamil. 90% or 95% were Jaffna Tamils. They were the station masters. And at one time, they used to call the train that went up and down the Jaffna Express or the Sodhi Express. Now, Sodhi is a coconut milk gravy that was made for string hoppers. You know what string hoppers is?
No.
What do you call it? Putumayum.
Okay. Yeah.
You know putumayum, the thing
Yes,
that looks
yes.
like a noodle,
Yes, yes.
which here in Singapore they eat with sugar and coconut.
Yeah. I ate it when I was a kid. Yes.
Yes, you remember that. So putumayum is one of the staples of our Jaffna Tamils. And so the station master in one station who had his wife with him, because not all of them brought their wives as well. So some of the station masters had their wives living in Malaysia or Singapore. And say the station master in Singapore would tell his wife, could you please make some string hoppers or putumayum and some sodhi, which is that gravy. It's really basic stuff. And with murunga, which is, you know what murunga is, drumstick in it.
Yeah.
And if they eat meat, sometimes a little mutton curry or something like that, but very seldom. And it was all put into a little tiffin carrier and given to the driver, the train driver, or the one of the um, keepers on the train.
Train. Yeah.
Yeah, and a ticket conductor, for example. Give it to him, and he would deliver it to a young chap who is not married and has got no family and nobody whatsoever in a remote station, maybe in Kluang. So this little tiffin carrier would be sent to this young chap who is all by himself and could not cook, and he didn't know where to get some home cooked food. And this home cooked food would come because somehow some of them are related or knew of them, and this lady would make this thing and give it to her husband to send it to this young chap in some station, some remote station somewhere. So that's where they used to call the train that ran between Kuala Lumpur, from Singapore down to Kuala Lumpur and further up north, the Sodhi Express.
I see.
Or the Jaffna Express. There was a time when they coined that name. And a lot of the railway ticket conductors, the station masters, the postal clerks, who were always based in the station, because that was where the parcels and all came. All these people were mostly Jaffna Tamils. As I said, the middle, they were mostly Jaffna Tamils.
Right. I see. Can we talk a bit more about the occupation? So a lot of the rail officials, the staff. Also, we mentioned the hospitals previously.
Yes, hospital assistants.
Right.
So there was a time, when the British, at the early times when they brought the trained doctors to join in the hospitals, the British always wanted themselves to be called as doctors. So they would call these guys either hospital assistants or dressers or apothecaries, and these were already trained in medical, So people like my grandfather, who was a doctor, he could operate, he could deliver babies, he could do all that.
Mm.
But he looked after mostly the labor force. And because he
Mm.
was Tamil speaking, it was very useful for them because the British could not speak Tamil. So it
Mm.
was a bit more difficult, challenging to be able to communicate with the labor force, which was the larger
Mm.
number of people that were in the estates. So he used to, communicate, and he was able to also understand native medicine because my grandfather used to also, he came from a line of doctors that were native medicine and, Ayurvedic medical doctors,
Mm.
the alternative medicine that was.
Yes, yes.
So my grandfather practiced Western medicine as well as native medicine. So it was
Ah,
very good
okay.
for the laborers because some of them preferred to lean towards the native medicine, and my grandfather could understand the the use of it.
Right. How did he learn Ayurveda?
In the Jaffna Tamils, in fact, in Indian Tamils, Jaffna Tamils, they also lean on native medicine or Ayurveda because that is
Right.
part of the practice. Part of our. I think everyone in amongst our community, we know something. I don't know about the younger community now, but up to
Mm.
my age group, I still practice native medicine. Like if
Mm.
we had a cough and cold, we use something like galangal and licorice and all these things. We boil it, ginger,
Mm.
pepper. We use it to boil and make, and coriander seed. We boil it and make it with rock sugar. We boil it and make it into a potent um, cough mixture, for example, to take away the phlegm. And it works.
Mm.
It
Mm.
works. And do not forget that a lot of this, like ginger and murunga and all this, are our native herbs and spices and healing uh, 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 availability that the West is now using.
Mm.
Turmeric,
Mm.
all
Mm.
this the West is using
Turmeric.
now,
Yeah,
which
that's
is
right.
and parcel of our age old.
Yeah,
Anise,
yeah.
which the Chinese use, so much.
Mm. Mm.
Anise seed,
Yeah.
um, all these different things, cinnamon we use, for good health, and cloves, for example, we use
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
and clove oil. The dentists are now using it for their
Mm.
dental, for the teeth. They use it as part of the cleaning of the teeth. The toothpaste
Mm.
Toothpaste uses clove oil. You have a toothache. I can assure you, although my daughter's a dentist and she like scolds me, she says, "Mom, do not tell everybody that." I said, "Excuse me, don't you all use clove oil? For you sometimes taste that very spicy taste that is sprayed into your teeth. When you go to the dentist, and that's clove oil."
Mm.
And when you have a toothache, you just use some clove oil. You find that it really works. Then, if it's really bad, then go and see the dentist, I would say.
Yeah.
But clove oil is something that, again, is a Ayurvedic or
Mm.
native
Mm.
healing medicine that we use.
Mm. Yeah, it's kind of ironic, right? We've got to go about this roundabout way before we learn about turmeric, from
Yeah,
the West.
yeah, I know that the West has to inform you, but in our case,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
an age-old practice that we have. You see, my husband, for example, although he's a Western doctor, he believes in the turmeric, and he uses this turmeric drops
Mm.
every day
Yeah,
in the morning when he gets up. That's the first thing that he has. This
yeah.
turmeric drops that is put in a little bit of warm water, and he has that, and it helps him uh, for his chest. He doesn't get inflammation of the lungs and stuff like that, and it has helped him.
Yeah.
It's very interesting that that has helped to sustain him.
Mm.
He's 91 now, and
Mm.
so from time to time, when he gets a cough and all, it's not as bad as it should. Normally elderlies, get makes it stops it from getting bad. Just
Ah, right.
touch and go. Yeah.
I've heard that there are ongoing efforts to kind of regulate and develop Ayurveda in Singapore. Am I
Yes,
right?
I guess so too.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah, yeah.
and I it'd be good. It's like the
Mm.
Chinese, you know,
TCM, yeah.
yes, uh, traditional,
Mm.
medicine practice. And I think it's good because, like acupuncture and all of it, is now
Mm.
regulated.
Mm.
And it's good because, it's for us, if we want to use alternative medicine,
Yeah.
at least we can go to it. It's a go to place.
Mm. Mm.
And it does work if it's done rightly. And if the medicines are, like, for example, the potent medicines that are mixed,
Mm.
looked into, like jamu.
Yeah.
Jamu is another thing that I hope that they will also look into regulating, because that's another good
Mm.
thing that can be used. And for us, we have, so after childbirth, we have all these native medicines and the baths, that we have. So hot boiling water, they will boil the cinnamon and the cloves and the nutmeg, and the flowers, and they give the hot bath to the uh, just recently delivered mother, and they use some of the water to bathe the baby as well.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
they use the um, myrrh, frankincense and myrrh, which is like incense, to smoke the mother, hair and all her, so that she breathes in, this healing power of the frankincense and myrrh.
Mm. Mm.
Now they have all these frankincense and myrrh in small bottles, and it costs a bomb, right? And it's used for healing as well.
Mm.
You know, all these medicines have been age-old practices of not only the Chinese, the Indians, and the Persians, and the the Malays, the Indonesians. It's very, very, very useful. See, our cough mixture, for example, the Western cough mixture.
Mm.
What is it made of? Full of sugar syrup, but the
Ah.
base is from a root, either with ginger or licorice or one of those roots. It's definitely those roots that are there.
Mm.
Coriander, and then it's full of the sugar syrup and some of this. Whereas when we make it more potent. We make it as pure,
Mm. Mm.
you know.
Yeah.
We make it as pure because we boil all of it, like how my mache who looked after us, used to boil the Chinese herbs and then give us to drink. She says heaty, cooling, all these things. We also have the same thing, cooling, heating. Your body is heaty, you take the cooling things. Your body is too cooling, you take the heaty things. You
Yes.
drink heaty,
Yes.
potent medicines.
That's very interesting. I didn't know you're an expert on Ayurveda as well.
I come from a family that practices it. That's why,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
mine, it's down the line.
Mm.
Maybe I'll be the last of the line. Though, mind you, when my grandchildren have a bad cough, and it's not going, and there's a phlegm, and they've gone through all the Western medicine cough mixtures and whatever, I just say to them, "Come here, let me do my special cocktail."
Mm.
So I boil this ginger and galangal and licorice and dried ginger and coriander with the rock sugar, and I give them 3 days, and all that phlegm is dried up. It just throws it off,
Mm.
expels it out of the body. It
Yeah.
just goes into the stomach and it's expelled. You know,
Good to
Just-
know. I find phlegm very annoying. Good to know how to get rid of it.
no, but you know what? It's so hard to give even my husband that potent medicine.
Ah.
But when he does take it, it gets rid of his cough. I
Mm.
tell him, I said, take it easy. It's horrible. I don't like it. He's like a baby, that. So I said, you guys give us medicine that's full of sugar syrup. I said, I'm giving you a medicine that is very pure, that
Yeah.
when you take it, it's sure to get rid of that because it's, and and same with the Chinese, when they make all those herbs and all, it really works. That cooling, heating, you know,
That's right. Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
it really works
The
because
principles are sound. Yeah.
yeah, we grew up.
Mm,
When we grew up, we also had amache, our Cantonese amache who looked after
mm,
us
mm, mm, mm,
from the time we were babies.
mm,
She will make us some of those things, She'll boil the lotus seed and the red dates and all those things, and she'll give it to us,
yeah.
to drink.
Yeah.
Say, good for you, you must have, and the bird's nest. So she will see if we are, not well, she will give us something. Apart from my mother dosing us with the Indian herbs, we'll get the Chinese
uh,
ones as well.
I want to go back to the employment. Let me show you a photograph from your
Yes.
book, actually.
Okay, these are all the judges,
The
yes.
judges,
Okay.
right? So were judges a prominent occupation of the
Yes.
community? Mm,
Yes, lawyers they were very well at that
mm,
time. The British sent the young chaps off to Britain, to Oxford and Cambridge. Actually, a lot of them
mm,
went from Ceylon,
mm,
right? And the high achievers, they were all the high achievers from the schools, and so then they went through the whole, became very top-notch lawyers or solicitors,
mm,
barristers actually,
mm,
and then they then were chosen to be on the bench. And there was a time in Singapore and Malaya where almost a large percentage of them were Ceylon Tamils, and they go back as early as 1900. There was a Justice Poole who was very, very well known, you know, and he was a Ceylon Tamil from Jaffna,
mm, mm,
and he worked in the Straits settlement. So he did Penang, Malacca, Singapore. His last was in Singapore. Then you have all these others. McIntyre, he was another one that I could name, who preempted Winslow and Justice, uh, you know, um, Kulasekram, Panch
mm,
Kumar Sami, Justice Gati, Justice Sinature, all are younger group.
mm, mm.
And if you see VK Raja, I can tell you something about him.
Yeah.
VK Raja's father had a huge history because he was one of the founding members of Barisan Socialists. And
T.T. Raja, you mean?
VK Raja, VK, the
Who
young,
was the father?
yes, his father, TT Raja, yes,
T.T. Raja, right? Yeah,
yes,
yeah. I know. Yeah.
TT Raja was a famous Barisan Socialist founder
Mm,
member, you
yes.
know,
Yes.
and they he started his law firm in Bank of China building at that time. He was
Mm,
and when he passed away, my God, the Chinese
mm,
embassy and the whole of they were highly respectful of him, and they gave him a grand send off.
yeah.
Yeah,
Mm.
if you look back at history, so
Yeah, I
that,
mean, T.T. Raja defended many of the Barisan, like Jamit Singh, in
yes,
his trial. Yeah.
yes.
Do
And
you
a
also
lot of the
know?
doctors, a lot of the doctors, there were
Mm,
quite a number of doctors that were part of the Barisan Socialist Group, which
yes,
my
that's right.
father-in-law knew as well,
Mm.
because my father-in-law was also a founder member of PAP,
Ah, okay.
and he was the person who gave the largest amount of seed money to start the PAP party, because my
Ah,
father-in-law had horses. So in 1950, when just shortly after the war, Lee Kuan Yew and all of them were trying to form the PAP, and
ah,
the British were not very happy. They were not very supportive, and they didn't like the idea. Because they wanted to be
yeah.
people in charge. So my father-in-law, the first winnings of his horse,
Ah.
uh, the first race that they ran after the war, the first winnings, he gave two-thirds of the party seat money,
mm.
the money to form the party. Two-thirds of the
Ah.
party. But my father-in-law, in the end, left the party and fought as an independent against Lee Kuan Yew in Tanjong Pagar, and
Ah,
then and
okay.
lost, of course, lost. And then he decided he had enough of politics, and he left and settled down in Penang.
Was this your father or father-in-law who was the
My
founder
father,
member?
my husband's,
Father-in-law.
yeah.
Okay. Could
So
you give his name? What's his
yes,
name?
Professor C. Subramaniam,
Okay.
Subrahmanyam. There are a
Okay.
lot of newspaper reports that you will see that go back in time, in the 50s,
Mm, mm.
about him. And the first elections, he fought against Lee Kuan Yew. I think 56, 57, thereabouts, 58.
Yep,
Then
there was a by-election in
by
57, I think.
election,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
thereabouts,
Mm.
And he was very much a, a good friend of Lee Kuan Yew's, and he helped him with the Chinese school students who went on strike. They brought in Preet from Ceylon
Mm.
to help to fight the case. You know, um, remember there was a huge
You're talking about the
riot.
Fajar trial.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
Fajar trial. Yeah.
The
Mm.
the yes, that thing, and they brought in Preet. My father-in-law helped him to bring Preet in, who was a QC, and
Yeah.
then
Mm.
after that, then subsequently, they fell apart because of some differences, and my
So your
husband
father-in-law was very politically active, yeah?
had, yes.
Ah,
In fact, they all
okay.
come from a very political family. So when my husband came
Yeah.
back to Singapore and had to go for the PSC interview, they asked him, "What are your political aspirations?" So my husband turned around and told all of them, "None political, everything medical." So then that question was asked, and PSC at that time was not 3-person interview panel. It was a larger number of panelists that interviewed
Mm,
the people who applied for jobs in Singapore. So the panelists then turned around and asked the main person who asked this question, "Why are you asking him about political? He's a simple old
mm,
Ceylon Tamil boy who's, just finished his medical degree and come to join. He's a Singaporean. He's come to join as a." He said, "Do you know who his father is?" And then the guy mentioned. He said, "My God, he's so and so son." And they all stood up because they all were taught by my father-in-law. And that was the best part of it, the irony of it. And he
yeah.
said, "Your father was um, uh, one of the gold medalists from his year from King Edward VII Medical College, and then he worked in the Strait Settlements. Then he went into politics as well. Where is he? He's gone off. This thing, and he's very quiet." My husband said, "My father has retired into Penang and he's quietly doing
Mm,
private practice
mm.
there. He's quite happy. Doesn't want to be involved in politics at all." That's it. He said, "That's it." He started the party with Lee Kuan Yew, was supporting,
Ah,
gave the money, and then he disappeared.
very interesting. Would in general the Ceylon Tamils were they politically active in general?
Yes, my God. AP
Mm.
Raja, if
Yes,
you
of course.
remember,
Yeah,
Datuk
yeah,
AP
yeah,
Raja,
yeah.
he was in the politics. Then, if you kick a stone, you fall. Our Ceylon Tamils love politics. Okay, they love to go inside there. They love to have, if you look at them, they are all, very, very much involved, in wanting to have a say in governing.
Mm, mm.
Even in our small association, okay, I must say that our association was the first community association to be formed in Singapore in 1910. They started in 1907. Then they were having talks and all that. And they actually registered in 1910. But it's the
Mm.
first community, association as such. Although there were many other associations like the rice millers,
Mm.
rice importers association and all that. Those were more business
Yeah.
communities. Then they had the clans,
Mm.
But the community association as such This was the first one that was
Mm.
registered in 1910. So yeah, they tend to be political, because even in our association, we always fight amongst ourselves on who has to be president and who has to be, whatever.
Yeah,
Everyone
yeah.
wants to be there on top. They want to have their say. Now
Yeah,
we are discussing, for example, we're discussing our constitution to be revamped.
yeah,
You know, oh my God, on Sunday we had the meeting, and we had a town hall, right?
yeah.
And we now open ourselves to town hall because we want people to also be able to help to form, to make sure that this constitution is airtight, and everyone give their own thought about it, of how they envisage the association to be for the future. But some of the things that they come up with are so silly and political that we just have to shut them down. Just love to have a say,
Yeah,
in
yeah.
sometimes some things that are not practical in today's age of living. We want to modernize and we want to be inclusive. So we
Right.
have to move
Yes.
forward, not backwards.
So can I ask you, as a woman, right, when you became the president of the association, how do you navigate this politics?
Oh my God, it was tough. Live in a male orientated world,
Yeah.
especially if it's a Ceylon Tamil male orientated world. It is tough, and it is even tough even today.
Mm,
Um, there's not much leeway given to a woman to take a lead, I can tell
mm.
you.
Yeah.
And although I had taken on, and at that time, I had a tough task because there was 3 years that they did not submit accounts and do all sorts of
Oh
things that
dear.
was necessary.
Mm,
So when I took on, I had to tidy up the house.
mm,
Takes a woman
mm,
to
mm,
make
mm.
it.
Yes.
So I had to do 3 years of accounts to ROS in 9 months. So
Mm.
I had to conduct 3 AGMs in 9 months
Oh gosh.
and to make it all happen. And a lot of the stuff that was required was not to be found. I had to go and look for it and all. And I thought it was a bit of an unfair situation that was left on us by whoever the previous committees were,
Mm,
and how then they ended up, there was a bit of a fray, and those guys ended up in court, and they were fined by the court. But I had to tidy up the house and make sure that everything was up to date. And I felt as a woman, as a Ceylon Tamil woman, when they never allowed us in too much of space, we had to tidy up and we had to do the job. I had to do the
mm,
job. But I have no regrets about it.
mm,
I stepped up and, you know, made sure that how my father taught me, to be a leader
mm,
and not be a follower.
mm,
My father, that's one thing, it was inculcated. I come from a family of 3 girls. There are no boys. My father never had
mm,
sons. My parents
mm,
didn't have boys.
mm,
My father taught me leadership right from the onset. So my father taught me leadership right from the onset. So I think that slowly, when I came to Singapore, and at a young age itself, I was exposed to my father's friends who were also people who were of very high leadership, you know, they positions in government and this thing. They were the people that came home, and so for me, I was soaked in this environment, and my parents entertained a lot. So these people were very much a part of our household. They
mm,
come in and out of our home. And having grown up and seen how they were, it sort of, influenced me.
mm,
And so when I came to Singapore, my mother in law then introduced me into the temple, and I slowly got introduced into the community here. And I started being involved in the association and the temple, in the working, you know, in the association organization and the temple organization, helping wherever I can, and slowly got into the different positions in the elections.
Mm.
And elections are very feisty, I can tell you that.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yes.
to sit as a female in that feisty atmosphere is not
Mm.
easy, because everyone, like, it's, they're all well educated people and very commanding figures that
Mm.
take charge in the our association. That's why they are able to be successful. you know
Yeah.
so when we get in there, we have to be on our toes.
Mm.
And as a woman, even today, as much as they try to be difficult with me, I give them a run for their money.
Mm.
I
Mm.
don't give them a chance to
Mm.
get on top of me.
Mm.
I always have the last word,
Mm.
um, in a nice way,
Yeah.
in a nice way. And they also mind their P's and Q's
Mm.
with me.
Mm.
I straight away put it right. Um, and I have led as chairman of many, many different projects in the
Mm.
organization.
Mm.
And the latest one was as a person who actually produced a documentary, the only temple that has produced an actual documentary. So
Mm.
in fact, the endowment board, Hindu endowment board, was all there. I turned around and they were sitting right next to me, and I turned around and said, I think it's time that all of you as well, there's a lot of heritage temples here. Tell the story about it so that there's a larger understanding about it. You know, um, you should tell the story of your temple. For example, the Mariamman Temple in South Bridge Road, the
Yeah.
history is huge,
Mm.
and it's the oldest known temple
Mm.
in Singapore. And it's worth a story to be told, you know.
Yeah.
But of course, the Ganesha takes the lead. So, yes, we did that, and I'm happy that we did that. And so, like this, these projects are very special.
Yeah.
Writing a book, doing these historical projects is something that's very close to my heart. And I feel that
Mm.
it's a challenge that I'm willing to take and look into and make it successful,
Yeah.
in some way. Even the book, the 100 Years book, it was a huge challenge. It was thrown to me. They first told me, oh, we're doing the 100 years celebration.
Mm.
Would you help us to do a one-page something about the association because you have been so involved? And I said, okay, no problem. Then it started becoming larger and larger. I said, we can't write about the association and the community in
Yeah.
one page.
Mm.
So then they said, well, would you like to produce a book? I said, 6 weeks from now is the event. And you're asking me to produce a book in 6 weeks? Do you know that book that you're holding, that 100
Mm.
Years book,
Yeah.
was written in 6 weeks?
Oh dear.
Everything of it. I worked night and day. But there's one thing I tell you, though,
Mm.
that I'm willing to do that.
Mm.
Dr. Loh, it's not easy, but I'm willing to burn the midnight oil if I have to do a project. And I did the same thing for 27th of April. We had uh, not only the launching of the documentary, but they also wanted an exhibition of all the pioneers and the whatever. And this was a poster exhibition. And they gave me, and I was chairing that whole uh, launch.
Yeah.
So there was a person who was holding that project, and he didn't do it for one whole year. He sat on it.
Oh.
He never produced a single um, poster, let alone a single line.
Mm.
So both the chairman of the temple and the president of the association turned around to me and said, Mrs. Iswaran, will you take up this project? And I said, April is the event. This is
Mm.
January. I said, are you joking? And I'm looking at this guy. I said, and how many posters did you plan to do? He said, maybe two or three. I said, you can't do a story of the whole community in two or three. I said,
Two
it's
or three.
impossible. So I took it on. I said, I'm not asking you anymore. I'm going to do this by myself. I don't want anybody to disturb me. I said,
Mm,
please don't ask me what is it going to be, but I will produce. And I started writing, and each poster producing it from the day one where the Ceylon Jaffna Tamils were chosen to come or were brought by the British, how they went to the schools and research on the schools that they went to, the British schools, and then where they were trained, which is called the Kacheri, where the British built the special place where they
mm,
trained all these officers, and how, where, and what the positions were they were brought in. So all of it, and the standees all were produced. I produced 48 standees,
mhm,
large 7-foot standees with 48 pages of the story. Not enough, but
mm,
good enough
mm.
to at least tell the story. But this is also, again, in a short 10-week period to do that. As
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
as you
That's
know,
amazing.
involved
Yeah,
in doing this writing
yeah, yeah.
is not an easy task, but it's a passion that I have, and it is something that there are three things in my life. My mantra:
Mm,
number one is my family,
mm,
number two is my temple,
mm,
and number three is my community.
mm,
I don't care whether anybody likes me or don't like me. Doesn't matter. You know what it is to keep the community relevant
mm,
and current in everything. And that is my mantra for my community.
mm.
And that is why I will spend my time. My husband says, until sleepless nights, to do these projects, I will do it. You
Yeah.
know, I'm getting older
Amazing,
now.
amazing. Yeah.
I'm getting older now,
Mm.
at 75, to be able to burn that midnight oil is not
Yeah,
easy.
yeah.
Uh, I was very, very tired after the last project,
Mm.
but I still haven't stopped because now they had the SG60, the community had the SG60 2 Sundays ago, right? The
Yes,
Sunday
yes.
before
You were
last, yes.
telling
They
me.
just
Yeah,
had it,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
On the nine on 2 Sundays ago, and they suddenly came to me again. They said, "Can we do as one of the programs, because we're having the ministers all coming, so we must do a nice program. So
Mm,
can we do as part of the program something relevant?" So I said, "What have you got?" They said, "Oh, the same old dance lah, music, whatever, I said, "Okay, leave it with me." So I wrote this small little 12-minute documenting
mm,
the pioneers from 1870 to 1900, these important few first people who are recorded as the
mm,
first pioneers that came to Singapore.
mm,
Then I also did a small little narrative on the sari and the sari blouse, because only two places in the Indian community, or the South Asian community, did the sari and the sari blouse change.
mm,
Is when the British colonials came into being and came to rule, and the Christianity came into being. The sari blouse changed into the Victorian style. And two
ah,
places, one was West Bengal and the other one was Jaffna, where the
okay.
sari blouses changed into Victorian and Edwardian style sari blouses. Long
Mm,
sleeve, high neck. So I gave that little narrative, and I gave the narrative of the pioneers, which I am so passionate about, because
mm.
one of the pioneers, actually did the reclamation in 1890s, did the reclamation of the Telok Air Basin,
Okay, okay.
successful reclamation. And
Mm,
that is where today Shenton Way, Robinson Road, and all sit on.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
at that time, it was a huge. swamp, you know,
Yeah.
and this man called Kudiar Chinapa was a contractor, and the British at that time, before he was governor, McCallum, he decided to hand it over to this guy to um, to successfully do the reclamation. Um, Major Sir H.E. McCallum. He was a colonial engineer and surveyor general of the Straits settlements at that time. And he chose this guy and he said, "You do the reclamation." So Cecil Street, Robinson Road, Shenton Way was at that time part of that Telok Air Basin. It was a real big swamp. And the British so many times tried to, but the sea just came and washed all the sand back. This man had some method that he could manage to do, and he managed to do that reclamation. So early reclamation of Singapore's most important business district was done by a Jaffna Tamil man called Kudiar Chinapa. And he became great friends with this General McCallum, because then he became the Governor General of the whole of the Straits settlements, as well as the whole of the Malaya, Singapore, um, Ceylon, India. He was the big guy who was in charge of this whole place, and so he became such great friends that he went to visit Jaffna, and Kudiar Chinapa went back and had a huge party in his honor, you know, and he was awarded, saying that he was one of the best ever contractors that they ever had. The other place that he did a lot of good work was this whole Bukit Tanjong, this one, Bukit Panjang. Bukit Panjang was the other one that he did. Pasir Panjang, sorry. Pasir
Pasir
Panjang Road,
Panjang.
not Bukit Panjang, Pasir Panjang. My territory, and I'd say the wrong names for it.
Exactly.
The whole of the Pasir Panjang Road
Yeah.
was also done by this man
Okay.
in
Okay.
1890s, you
Okay.
know. So
Great. Great.
interesting. I mean, some of these old timers that were there,
Mm.
you know, and what they contributed
Yeah.
can be forgotten,
Mm.
and in history and in going, but in time. And by doing that latest narrative that I did, it was for me to make it current for the younger generation to realize and to tell them that your community contributed in this way. So you must remember.
We're gonna end soon. I've taken up a lot of your time and listened to so many
Not at all.
wonderful stories. I just have one last question.
Yes.
How are you hopeful about the community going forward? And what might be some of the challenges coming up, in future, to document and to preserve the heritage of the Ceylon Tamils?
There are a lot of challenges. The younger generation think differently,
Mm.
and I don't know whether it's positive or negative for our community, but we're trying to keep them as current as we can, and trying to keep them as much as we can um, to be remembering what the past contributions were and the wealth of the past contributions. However, the younger generation are also trying to modernize and keep with the trends, to be inclusive. And that's what's important, because Singapore is changing, so we cannot be individualistic in or exclusive in our way. We have to be inclusive, and that is what is important. We are one, that is one of the important things that we have to remember.
Mm.
The other thing is they are moving away in a way that there are a lot of mixed marriages now.
Mm.
So this mixed marriages is another challenge that has come. So if generally most of the family, if they marry into if the husband is a non-Ceylonese, then the Ceylonese mother would bring a lot of her Ceylonese ways to the child. I think it's the mother that is important. You know how the child is brought up.
Mm.
You know, so that is where the issues lie. You know, generally, I think that is a problem that we face now. The moving away of the children from the deep heritage and culture of the Ceylon Tamils
Yeah.
is when the mixed marriages come in, and more mixed marriages. You know,
Mm.
uh, there's mixed marriage in Chinese marrying Europeans. You know, uh, girls marrying Chinese boys as well. That is coming a lot of our Jaffna Tamil girls or
Mm.
marrying Chinese boys or European or Western you know boys wherever they are.
Yeah.
More and more is happening. That is where um, the deep heritage and culture is slowly
Mm.
dissipating if
Mm.
they do not preserve it. If
Mm.
the mothers don't preserve it, the fathers generally will lean on the wife, to look
Mm.
after. So you can't blame the Western wife or the Western or the Chinese wife or the Malay wife to bring the children up their way, you know,
Yep.
in their form of religion and
Mm.
preference. You can't blame it. As I say, mother first. We have a saying in prayers. We always say, mother, father, teacher, God.
Mm.
This is the pecking order
Mm.
in our way of life. Your first God is your mother, second is your father,
Mm.
third is your teacher, and last is the God himself,
Mm.
whichever the God you're praying to. You know, this is the pecking order we believe in. So the role of the mother is number one. The formation of the child is
Mm.
the mother.
Mm.
And then the father comes here and there, a little bit. But then it comes to the teacher. So when they blame the teacher, saying the teacher didn't bring the child up, it's actually the mother. The mother and the father are the ones that play the most formative roles,
Mm. Yeah, I
right?
will leave a list of books that you have written on the
Yeah.
community in the description to the video. So anyone who wants to know more about the history and tradition of the Ceylon Tamils, please go ahead and look at this wonderful stuff that Indra has produced. So thank you very much, Indra.
Thank
I've
you.
really enjoyed listening to
Thank
you.
you. Thank you.
The term that comes to my mind, right, after this podcast, when I think about the Ceylon Tamils, is to build. Right, there are so much involved historically with building Singapore to what it is today. Whether
Yes.
it is the roads, the railways, the engineers,
Yes. Everything.
the
Yeah.
the, the health of the people, right,
Yeah.
and the loss of the land, so to speak.
Correct.
So it is. I've really enjoyed doing this podcast on the Ceylon Tamils, and very much thankful to you. Also, as a pioneering woman, I think we should not forget that you're a pioneering woman, and hopefully you will pave the way for more women
Yes. I
to be
hope so
involved
too.
in the community, right? To lead the
Yes.
community.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I thank you for including me in this podcast. Thank you very much. And I've enjoyed, but we should not stop there.
Mm.
I would love
Yes.
to invite you and your wife over a meal where you can experience, what
Yes.
what we
Yes.
are about, and also a bit of our history, a bit more on a personal level. And I would like to share my
Mm.
book. They came from Jaffna. I'd like to gift you that book.
Wonderful.
When you come,
Wonderful.
yeah,
Yes.
because I
Yes.
think in that you'll get a little bit more insight into our Tamil culinary world, and
Mm.
also
Mm.
the you know
Yes.
much more, because our culinary world doesn't stop just with Tamil food. We have the uniqueness of having the influence of the Portuguese, the Dutch, and the British, as well as
Uh,
the Moors. You know, the Moors,
yes.
which is mostly the Arabic traders that in the third century BC onwards were very much a part, or historically were very much a part of our trade exchange.
Mm. Fascinating.
because
Yeah, definitely. Sihui and I would definitely want to come to the,
love to
the
come
old
to my plantation table.
King's Dock, right? We can't miss the
Yes, come to King's
opportunity.
Dock. Yeah, you must come here. Yeah, you must come. I bought this place because of King's Dock.
Okay. We arrange a time.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah,
We'll
you
be in
let me
touch.
know. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Doctor. Thank you so much, Doc.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thank you so much, Indra. Bye bye.